We're gonna guess the hosts, hey. We're gonna host the guests, hey. We're gonna rank them all to find out who's the best. Hey. We're hosting till the world stops turning, and we'll host it to the ground tonight.
It's episode 26 of Guest Host Raw, the series where I look at every episode of the guest host era of Monday Night Raw. And folks, 26 weeks of this means it's about 6 months of Raws I have watched on the timeline. But that means I've been doing this series for about a full year, which is pretty crazy to think of how much time has flown since then. And boy, how much slop we've waded through to get here. And here's to many more. This week's Raw is the Christmas episode from December 21st, 2009 at the St. Pete Times Forum in Tampa, Florida. And boy, it feels like Christmas in July for me because thank fuck, this is only a 2-hour episode of Raw. After last episode's just whimsy and pleasure of the Slammies and Dennis Miller going 3 hours, I don't think I could take another go of that 2 weeks in a row. Your guest host for the week is pro baseballer and two-time World Series champion Johnny Damon, who was recently playing for the New York Yankees, currently a free agent at the time of this video. But the Yankees are rivals for Tampa and the Tampa Rays, so he gets the fuck boot out of him. When he shows up here, he does not get a good reception from the Tampa crowd. Cole does mention the Yankees practice in Tampa during spring training. That's not going to be enough loyalty for them. Also, I thought Johnny had a Grand Masters of Wrestling ass theme when he came out here. I don't know if it was dubbed from like the re-air or whatever, but I'll just play him back to back. You be the judge.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here's some love for Johnny.
He goes, "Merry Christmas, everybody," and the crowd goes, boo. They don't like him. He already looks shell-shocked. Like, he looks absolutely flustered to be out there in front of a live audience. Reminds me very much of, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano earlier in this series. But son of a bee, I'll say this, he's got a smile on his face, looks happy to be there. Dennis Miller, he may have looked miserable, but at least he is confident in front of a rough crowd. And then you hear him talk more, and I don't know if it's the stage fright or what, but this guy has the cadence and delivery of a robot. Like AI sounds more human than this guy when he's on the mic. He goes, "I get some boos. I get some cheers, that's all right. World Series champion in Boston and New York." And gets more boos for that. And then he does like a weird, I don't know if he's trying to do like a crotch chop with like a bounce, like a boom, like that, because all you see him do is this weird arm thing. I'm like, what is that supposed to be? I do not know where I'm going to be in 2010, but that doesn't matter because I'm here to host Raw. He just holds that for a while to get like some kind of pop from the crowd. He says, "Tonight, I am in charge of the WWE franchise, and we are going to have Secret Santas giving out wishes tonight to the superstars." And then suddenly, a wild Tiger Woods reference appears. In the middle of his speech, we hear this like tiger roar sound effect playing over the PA. Suddenly, a guy in a tiger suit is like hopped over the barricade, and he's being pursued by a blonde lady swinging a golf club at him and everything. Like, "Oh, you bastard, you cheater," this and that. I'm impressed by this lady's ability to run up in like the ramp and jump off in heels the way she did. Now, the context of this, of course, is a month prior to this, not even like recent news, a month before this show aired. Tiger Woods famously got into an altercation with his then wife over his infidelity, and she chased him away with the golf club and tried to smash the back of the car as he was getting away. And that's what they're referencing here. But like, why? To what end? Like, oh, hey, we're in Florida. They're gonna love this gag 4 whole fucking weeks after it happened. Like, who cares? And as it's happening, Johnny Damon goes, "I did not sign up for this. This is not what I signed up for. Let's get the show going with the beautiful Divas." And then it's time for the first match. But, oh, boy, this was a rough one. I tell you what, I've never seen an animatronic host Raw before, but that's what we're getting here with Johnny Damon. Please don't give him any more to say. So on we go to our first match. It's a Santa's Little Helper 6-diva tag match. You've got Kelly, Gail, Kim, and Melina taking on Alicia Fox, Maurice, and Jillian. I thought that, if you're gonna do faces and heels, you might have them like dress differently to establish that. Like Kelly's wearing pink for some reason, which I'm not sure what the significance of pink is in Christmas lore, that sort of thing. But I did appreciate Alicia's, like the way she does her march down the aisle to the beat of Maurice's theme. That was fun. Match begins with Gail and Jillian. They're doing some cool stuff. I love the electric chair drop that Jillian does to Gail. That was pretty crazy. At one point, Lawler's like, oh boy, I got a funny feeling when I'm seeing these ladies, but maybe it's the eggnog I had earlier because I'm lactose intolerant. Yes, Jerry, when I think about the feelings I get when I see a pretty lady, that's the reaction that I think I'm having too. Kelly gets a hot tag. It's pretty short sequence here. Ultimately, she's like held up by Maurice. Melina drop kicks Kelly's back so she falls on top of Maurice. The cover and the win. And so the baby faces win this short and sweet little match. At least Melina and Jillian did not have to face off in the match at all. It was another kind of a short work night for the ladies here, but at least, they didn't have to stand there in gowns and just do nothing the whole time. Coming up next, the segment that has been long awaited here on Guest Host Raw. We thought we were going to get it the week that Vern Troyer showed up, but he apparently did not want to be associated with that, and rightfully so. It's time for Little People's Court. Hornswoggle's been wanting this out of DX for weeks now, and it's finally happening here. And so it starts out with, it's a pre-taped segment earlier in the day, before the doors open, so it's an empty arena. Shawn and Triple H, they're looking at this note that tells them to go to the ring. And Triple H makes fun of Shawn for like wearing reading glasses and whatnot. So they make their way to the ring, and they understand that they have to go under it. So they're there at the apron, they're arguing over who to go in first. It's all dirty and scary down there. They go in there, and it's dark, and they can't see. So they go in there, the camera follows in, it's pitch black. You can only hear their voices. They can't see anything in front of them, but suddenly they turn on the DX glow sticks to see, that was some clever thinking there by Shawn and Hunter there to have the glow sticks. And then they turn the light on, and you see you are in a full hallway. It's very, very backrooms looking to me here. I've seen that movie recently, so it's just very fresh in my mind. But it's just, I thought it's a very funny bit to go under the ring, and the idea that it's a whole universe under there, like it's a TARDIS or something. That's where, Hornswoggle lives, and there's this whole other world. And honestly, I think that's my favorite part of Little People's Court, is that joke of like the world under the ring. I think that's a very underexplored motif that they only really scratched with this bit here, and I wish they could have done so much more with that. So they see a double door with the Little People's Court sign on it, and so they enter the room, and it's like a mock courtroom. And it's all full of little people. You've got 6 little jurors, you got a little bailiff, you got a little judge there at the podium, like it's like an end table that they used as like a judge stand. And so Shawn and Hunter, they're beside themselves. They can't believe their, I guess you could call it good fortune, bad luck, I don't know, because they're now surrounded by little people, and they just make all these jokes. Little Judge Judy, and like the woman growls at them, because I guess in this world, little people, they don't speak English. They just growl and grunt. That's Hornswoggle's thing. So everyone does that here, which is kind of crazy. The bailiff like whacks Shawn in the knee to get him to sit down, because they're going to sit on tiny chairs. But like, I can't sit down there. My knees are going to be sore. So the bailiff whacks Shawn in the knee, takes him down. And then they have this moment where Triple H looks at the two of them. He's like, wait a minute. And he takes Shawn's cap off to reveal that Shawn and the bailiff have similar hair. Like the bailiff has a weird thinning ponytail, pulled back look, and Shawn, he reveals that Shawn has the same haircut. And that's the joke, which again, I think that's very funny. Shawn is very good in this bit. He is a great slapstick artist. I will say that, because, and he's willing to make fun of himself. He makes fun of his need for glasses and the cross-eye. They made fun of that earlier. They make fun of his hairline. Like, he's willing to poke fun at himself in a way that Triple H just isn't. And I like that he's able to make that sacrifice. In comes Hornswoggle, who takes the witness stand. And again, for the purpose of, exposition, Sean is able to translate Hornswoggle's grunting. And so Sean says he's suing us for emotional distress, and he has video evidence. And so they play the video, Exhibit A, and they play like the People's Court music throughout all this stuff. And I wonder, like, is that song just like public domain, or was it super cheap for them to license? I imagine maybe because it's like out there in syndication, it's just like free reign or whatever, or at least very cheap because they use it the whole time. And it's all the montage of all the ways DX have kind of bullied or picked on Hornswoggle, saying, you got nothing. And like when they're tussling backstage in their shop zone bits, or when they hung Hornswoggle up on a hook, that sort of thing. And then like they play that out, and DX sit there and they go, ooh, they look kind of sheepish. And that's like the end of the segment. It's like to be continued. It's very weird. It's like, it's not funny yet to me. It's just silly and weird. But we'll see how it goes when we return to part 2. 6-man tag match up next. You've got the Legacy, all 3 members taking on Kobe Johnston Kingston, Evan Brunn, and Mark Henry, the man. I am wondering why MVP is not in this group, since he does partner with Mark Henry. We'll find out why in a little bit, though. We get this moment where Kofi's in there, he gets cut off, Randy tags in, he stands over Kofi, ooh, looks really menacing, and then we go to break, and then we come back from break, and Kofi is taking heat from Cody. So, oh, that would have been nice to see that play out maybe. Evan Bourne goes on a big run after the hot tag. Huge shooting star press to Child Ted, but the cover is broken up. Evan takes a lot of heat after this. At one point, Michael Cole refers to Mark Henry as the world's biggest cheerleader. It's just sad at this point. Bourne with a crazy bump and sell after a clothesline by DiBiase. Again, like every week, Evan's doing some kind of crazy thing to stand out. We get a hot tag to Kofi and Orton. Kofi's on a roll. Kind of a weird optical illusion when Kofi's doing the boom drop and the camera's like really tight on him and it follows his movements. And so then after that, Kofi hits Ted with just the tip to win for his team. I thought it was a great matchup. I thought it was just very well paced and balanced. Everyone had a moment to shine and that sort of thing. It makes you wonder why they didn't just have Kofi win last week to carry on the momentum or rebuild his momentum, like he had to take one more loss the previous week under kind of shady circumstances to get a better win here. I don't know. But besides that, Kofi did look strong in this and looking strong against Legacy. So again, a good match. We go to the Damon zone. Backstage, Johnny Damon hanging out with Santa Claus, Eve Torres, and the Bella Twins, who are both dressed as elves. And the first line of dialogue is one of the Bellas going, oh, I just love the holiday season. And the other one goes, oh, by the way, Johnny, congratulations on winning those championships. Who do they write this dialogue for? Everyone is baby. Everyone is just in the middle of saying the most inane shit that you would obviously say way before you're having this conversation. It's just so fucking bad. I don't know what else to say. And Johnny goes, thank you. We had so much fun this year. And then Eve's like, I'm gonna go get some eggnog. Anyone want some? And then like, as she's walking away, you can hear Santa Claus talking through his muffled beard. I bet you can't wait to get that ring, huh? She's getting eggnog and suddenly Carlito shows up and hits on her and he wants to go for a kiss because they're under the mistletoe. She looks really grossed out by this and then suddenly in comes her hero, Chris Masters, and I thought the funniest thing would have been if he made Carlito like kiss one of his pecs or something like that, but ultimately Carlito opens up, oh my god, it's Chris Masters, what are you doing? They want to start fighting. Suddenly Santa Claus gets in between them and he sounds like, I don't know, Goofy or Barney, the way he's putting on this voice like, hey, do you maggots want to get it on? You should do that in the ring and that's an order. And then there's this pause because you could hear some of the familiar verbiage. Carlito just pulls the beard down. Hey, you're Sergeant Slaughter. You're not Santa Claus. You can't make any matches tonight. And then Johnny Damon just goes in and says, if you guys want to fight tonight, Masters versus Carlito, it's on. And then the two wrestlers leave. Slaughter's just standing there next to Johnny and going, glad you got here in time. Like, or what? What would have happened if Johnny Damon did not show up there? He was threatened mildly by Carlito, I guess. And they're like, ooh, we're under the mistletoe. And Johnny Damon's like, I'm not going for that, and that's an order. And then Slaughter's like, hey, don't ask, don't tell, Johnny. Jesus, this was not great. And then it's time for part 2 of Little People's Court. And Triple H, we're doing a lot of short jokes, short puns here. Triple H goes, I think this is all a little misunderstanding. It's not that we don't like trolls, dwarfs, midgets. What do you people want to be called? Diminished stature? Ugh. Like, no. Who would want to be called diminished stature? Anyway, Shawn is trying to, make up for it. He says, Your Honor, I'll keep it short. Don't. Let me just make a tiny point. Don't. I'm not doing any better. And then they want to play the next video, and Swoggle says, play. That's how he tells the bailiff to play the second video. I like that. So we get Exhibit B, and it's the pedigree at Madison Square Garden where, they dupe Hornswoggle into thinking he's going to join the group. They do the let's get ready, boom, the kick, and the long stall. They cut out how long Triple H has stalled that pedigree, and they also cut out a lot of the, no, don't do that. The crowd did not want him to do it. And then after the video plays, Hornswoggle growls a bit, and then we hear the judge growl too, I think, and suddenly Shawn just goes, guilty. Again, this is how we know what's happening, because Shawn's translating, but the way he just jumped out and said it was where the fuck, who said guilty? Where'd that come from? So anyway, then Shawn just goes all out for this part. This is his Academy Award winning performance where he gets up and he's got the emotion and it's I know what you're doing. I know what you want us to do. You want us to let him to join DX, but that's not gonna happen. He's gonna have to prove himself worthy. He's gonna have to move mountains, tug on Superman's cape, and climb a beanstalk. And of course, he stops himself at that too. He goes, you're gonna have to do something really major to prove yourself worthy. And if you're not down with that, and as he's trying to do the catchphrase, suddenly everyone in the room just starts throwing paper cups and paper wrapped up crumpled balls and plates at DX. Plates and plates at DX. And they're just oh, no. And they have to escape the courtroom and they try to slam the door. We get this kind of zombie motif, get them. And so they escape, they slam the door, they run out, cut to the apron at ringside. We're blah! And they run out from the apron underneath the skirt and everything. And they're oh man, that was crazy. I can't believe that. And they're collecting themselves for a second. And suddenly Shawn just, whoom, takes a face bump, just goes down onto the padding as he's being pulled back by some mysterious hands. And Triple H has to pull him out. It's a horror movie all of a sudden. And Shawn's they're tearing at my body. I can feel their little hands. And then Triple H pulls Shawn out and they flee and they run away. And that's the end of it. I'm you know what? Shawn, he really saved this for me. Again, his timing and his physicality and slapstick really put this over the top for me. Although I have to admit, I kind of after the word, I'm was that it? I remember Little People's Court seeming so much more outlandish and ridiculous in my head. I remember seeing it in the past, but it had been a while, and just the way I've kind of built it up in my head, I thought, oh my God, this is going to be the stupidest thing ever. And it's dumb, again, it's just wave after wave of short person jokes, and if that's your thing, then it's hysterical. And there are a couple of funny bits in it, but I'm yeah, okay, but that's Little People's Court. This was peak Vince McMahon's this was his wet dream. Sorry for such an evocative phrase, but that was he loved this. You have to believe this was his WrestleMania moment. They showed a recap of last week's main event where John Cena beat Randy Orton in the Superstar of the Year tournament finals, and they also remind you of his promise that he's not going to lose another match until he regains the title. So we go to his next matchup here as John Cena takes on Jack Swagger. Big positive response from the Tampa crowd for Cena here. This match is pretty good. I think Swagger has to show off a lot of his strength. He's a very good base in this matchup. I mean, literally at one point, Cena just blatantly jumps up into the air, waiting to be caught in Swagger's arms for a side slam. It's very obvious. Some 2K-ass commentary at one point by Cole in this match. When you're on top, everyone is gunning at you to take you down. Some really good back and forth in this matchup. You've got Swagger. He gets out of the way of the big sit, goes for the Vader bomb, but Cena gets out of the way of that. STF applied, Swagger taps out, and John Cena wins. Like I said, this is a really solid match. This is the best Swagger has looked in weeks. I really think that the feud that he was in with MVP kind of broke both guys, honestly. Look at where, we're going to see where MVP is in a second, but Swagger is certainly looking no better off after that. It's been kind of floating in the ether for some time. That being said, he delivered well in this match. We're backstage in the Johnny Zone, and we see Damon chatting it up with Dusty Claus. There is no question the man behind the beard in this segment. First thing out of his mouth, you hear him go, "I want to thank you for winning those titles, Daddy." He starts to eat the beard as he keeps talking. It's so fucking funny. He's more muffled than usual.
And you know what? Let me tell you something. The boss, Josh Damon, he's a good friend of mine. Ho, 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 ho.
So speaking of MVP, he walks in and tells Dusty Claus that his one Christmas wish is he wants to make 2010 the year of MVP. And he wants to, make a good impression and prove that he's worthy of a championship match. So Dusty Claus, can I have a match with Sheamus? And, he even pulls down the beard again to show Dusty. He's like, "Did my polka dot give it away?" And so Dusty says, I'm not Santa Claus. I can't give you this match, this Christmas wish, but I know somebody who can, Daddy. If it's at a big smile and just looks over at Johnny Damon, who says, "Sounds like a home run idea to me. It is on." And then Damon and MVP leave, and Dusty's just underneath the mistletoe by himself, goes, "Ho, ho, ho," and fades to black. No one kisses Dusty. Aw. So yeah, that was pretty crazy. I was dying hearing Dusty try to talk with the beard over his mouth. That was insane. Up next, Carlito takes on Chris Masters. And King, this match all began over some titty. So we have this match now. The match, it's not much of anything. The crowd is very dead for this as Masters is trying to make his comeback. He is accompanied by Eve in this. It's so funny. I guess he won out over Carlito and Jack Swagger after several weeks. So Masters, it's a big power slam to start his comeback. Carlito goes for a springboard and Masters hits it, catches him in the master lock, wins pretty quickly. And I'm like, didn't these guys have a program with each other years ago? The last time both men were in the company? Can't these guys be put with anyone else but themselves? Then after the match, Masters and Eve share an awkward hug. Eve pulls out, the mistletoe, and they share a little smooch. That's enough for Chris to shake one titty, and the crowd could not give a shit. So what the hell is this? We cross-dissolve to see the guy in the tiger suit sitting on a couch macking with the Bella twins. That alone is an insane thing to start off with. Then we pan over to see obviously IRS as Santa Claus chatting it up with the US champion, The Miz. And, he's pissed at Santa because at 9 years old, he didn't get this one jacket that he really wanted. So now he really wants to get everything that he asked for. He wants his face on a new tour bus. He wants a house in Malibu. He wants a hotter girlfriend. He wants 2 hotter girlfriends. Miz, you already have Maurice, my friend. I don't think you should outkick your coverage any further than you already have. And Miz goes, "'Cause I'm the Miz." And then IRS cuts him off, "And you could be audited." And he tells The Miz that being US champion actually puts him in a higher tax bracket, so I'll be watching you in April. Then the fake Tiger Woods wife enters the room with the golf club. It's like, "Oh, you cheating bastard." And she chases off the guy in the tiger suit. And then Miz goes, "I wonder if Tiger Woods' girlfriends could be audited." And Johnny Damon chimes in and goes, "I paid my taxes." And IRS goes, "Yeah, right. All you baseball players are the biggest tax cheats." And then, to wrap all this up, Mae Young walks into the room dressed in a Christmassy, sexy getup. And she goes, "Hello, Johnny." And she jumps on him and they kiss and she tackles him. And the camera follows him down. They get the whole awkward fucking thing. He gets up and leaves, just leaves Mae by herself as she struggles to get herself back up on her feet. And she just stands there and goes, "Merry Christmas." What is happening? At what point does Vince McMahon just fall asleep when he's reviewing these segments and these bits beforehand? What would he have been thinking? Obviously. This whole show is all of Vince's favorite things. It's Mae Young getting frisky with people. It's midgets. It's little people. It's all of his favorite stuff is here. All you need now are poop jokes, and he would be laughing. It'd be his ultimate Christmas wish. Up next, Sheamus in his first matchup since winning the WWE Championship in a non-title match with MVP, who, to reiterate, wants 2010 to be the year of MVP. And he really wants to prove to people that he has what it takes to fight for a championship. So starts out very strong, very aggressive, does Sheamus, but Montel starts coming back. He hits the face buster. He goes to do the ball and elbow, but he just hits the ropes. Sheamus gets right back up, hits him with the brogue kick, the running razor's edge, and that's it. Wow, what an emphatic victory over this once dominant former U.S. champion. Again, every week I'm flummoxed by the way they treat some people. Like, what did MVP do wrong? Exactly. Was this during the time the rumor was that he attacked Triple H backstage with a screwdriver? That was a famous rumor I heard many years ago. And, I wonder what the reason could be. Because, Jesus, he is, like I said, with he and Swagger, they just got hit with an idiot ray, and they have never been the same since coming to Raw. Then after the bell, suddenly John Cena runs in with a mic in hand, and he looks at the crowd and goes, "You know this guy owes me a rematch, right? Well, I've come to collect. I want the rematch right now." He takes off the shirt. Fans are pumped for this. They want to see the match, but Sheamus balks. So we don't quite get that just yet. But we do get a resolution to that very soon, because back in the John Zone, we see Vince McMahon show up to congratulate Johnny on a great job he's done so far. And, boy, you smell like you got some sardines on your breath after, kissing Mae Young and everything. But he does want to ask, hey, John Cena just called out Sheamus for a title match. How do you want to, settle this? How do you want to address this? So then Damon just goes, how about John Cena versus Sheamus for the title next week? And then Vince is like, hell yeah, let's do it. And then Johnny goes, is there any truth to Bret Hart hosting Raw soon? And so Vince goes, oh, that's somewhat of a bah humbug question, so I'm not going to answer that. The fuck's a bah humbug question? I've never heard that phrase used before. Coming up next, The Miz takes on Santa Marella. Santino Marella comes out dressed as Santa Claus. I love that. You hear the operatic part of his theme at first, and then it just hard cut to Christmas jingle. By the way, do you think that's the same Santa suit that we've been seeing all night, all the different wrestlers have been wearing? It's gotta smell like shit at that point, you would think, right? Anyway, he comes out to Santino and he says, Merry Christmas, Merry Hanukkah, Merry Kwanzaa. He sings, Santino Claus is coming to town. I'm kind of surprised that didn't get cut out for a trademark or whatever. And he says he's checked his list, he's checked it twice, and he knows that The Miz has not been very nice. And so the match begins after an awkward pause, and The Miz just starts stomping the hell out of Santino. But credit to Marella, he's working real hard to keep the beard on. He's adjusting it Rey Mysterio style as he's selling and trying to fight back. He's trying to keep the beard on and everything. So Marella does come back. He goes for his second rope diving headbutt salute thing, but he whiffs that and takes a skull-crushing finale for Miz to win. Oh, great. So The Miz beat Santa Claus. Yay, Christmas. But Miz isn't done. He takes Santa's sack and he stomps on it and he kicks it out of the ring. Oh, what a baddie. And then you see some stuff fly out of the bag, and it's you can see a magazine, and maybe you can see the end of a DX Santa hat and a couple of brown rags. Why are they showing us a recap of Little People's Court? This is not a 3-hour episode where you can get away with that. They just basically show you the highlights of part 1 and 2 without the compilation clips of Hornswoggle and stuff. And they just replay all that. After that recap, we suddenly see Big Show storming down the hallway for the first time all night. We haven't even seen him since, the title match last week. So he's walking down the hallway. Josh Matthews walks up to him. The first thing he says, what are your thoughts on this Christmas edition of Raw? That's the first thing you fucking say to him? What are your thoughts on this Christmas edition of Raw? What do you think he's going to say? Why don't you ask him hey, what do you think about the tag title situation or anything like that? What's your thoughts on this Christmas edition of Raw? So Big Show is all of a sudden, he's really pissed off at these imposter Santa Clauses. He's going to go to the ring, he's going to confront the real Santa Claus, and he's going to get his Christmas wish granted tonight. Huh? What? Whoa, wait a minute. Time out. What is happening here? Suddenly now, we are to believe that the Santa Clauses we have seen are fakes, and that we're going to have a real one. And this is the Big Show's primary concern right now. He is so mad at these Santa Clauses, he needs to go to the ring to confront Santa Claus to give him what he wants. What is happening? So then after the commercial break, this is the main event segment of the show, by the way. The Big Show comes out to the ring. He calls out Santa, give me what I want right now. So then out comes Santa Claus, accompanied arm in arm with the Bellas, coming out to, the local car dealership Christmas sale commercial version of Jingle Bells. As soon as he gets the mic, we realize this is Chris Jericho. in the Santa suit, and he's got this weird foppish English version of a Santa Claus voice. He's just making it work. And so it's like, well, Big Show, you can't sit on my lap, but you can sit on Big Show's knee, does Santa. And so Chris Jericho Claus is sitting on Big Show's knee going, have you been a good boy this year? Yes, I have, Santa. What do you want for Christmas this year? I want my tag team partner and best friend, Chris Jericho, back on Raw. Well, Chris Jericho's been a real bad boy this year. He just talks and makes Santa's belly sick. Yeah, but he's a real cool guy. What are we doing? What is the motivation? What is it that drives Chris Jericho and Big Show and kayfabe to do this sort of thing? Like, don't you think that they would be a little more forthright in trying to have Jericho come back instead of doing this bullshit with Santa Claus? Like, don't you think they're above that in this world? Like, oh my God, every week they find new ways for me to like these guys less and less, which I guess is the goal, but man, like it's the wrong kind of not liking. So he goes, yes, Chris Jericho will be back on Monday Night Raw next week. Again, how he has this power, who the fuck knows? So Show goes, thank you, Santa, thank you, you're the best. And then Hornswoggle shows up in DX gear from under the ring. He yoinks Santa's beard off, and we see now this is Chris Jericho. Oh my God, what a shock. Who could have guessed? Swoggle goes back under the ring. Jericho's pissed. Then suddenly we hear Hornswoggle's music again. He comes back out from under the ring, and now he is flanked by a bunch of other little people from the court segment, and now they're all wearing the DX outfits, and Jericho looks confused as hell as he takes off the Santa gimmick. He keeps on the belly and just starts running after the little people. He's scrambling. He's swarmed by them, but he fights them off. One of them's clinging onto his leg, and he tells Big Show to do something, and Show just grabs the guy. He picks the little guy up with the greatest of ease, hits the biggest side slam I have ever seen. He killed this guy. Oh my God, that was ridiculous. And then Swoggle, he's cornered in the ring by the baddies. Suddenly, he throws down the hat. He starts tuning up the band. He's getting ready, and the heels are like, what the fuck is this? And then suddenly Swoggle hits sweet shin music on Chris Jericho. Ooh, you're gonna get it now. They go for the choke slam, but then Triple H and Shawn, they come out and they make the save. They shit-can Jericho. They double-team the Big Show. They hit him with a double suplex. And then we see the face-off with Hornswoggle and DX. So H-Man's got the mic and he tells Shawn, let's squash him. And Shawn's like, come on, it's Christmas. We don't want to do that. What I want for Christmas is to squash him. And they're like, well, you know what? This little guy's starting to grow on me. I'm starting to hate him a little less here, And he said, he had to do something big. And he did something big to earn his loyalty. And then Shawn's like, can we keep him? Oh, I'll walk him and I'll feed him every day. So hang on, is Hornswoggle a child or a dog? And H is like, we can't let him in. We have a height requirement. And he tells Swoggle, here's the thing. You drop this whole lawsuit and we can't make you a full member, but we can make you a mascot. What do you say? And so the fans love this idea. Hornswoggle loves this idea. He's like, rah, rah, let's do it. And so they do the catchphrase. We got 2 words for you. And Hornswoggle says, suck it. So just like Kane, Hornswoggle's first real words were suck it. You love to see it. And we get the DX pyro. We get like a snowfall filter over the screen to remind you it's Christmas as we go off the air. Oh my God. This was awful. I'm sorry. Man, Swoggle didn't even get what he wanted out of this. A mascot's not a member. That's a 2-tier system. That's not even the same pay scale. You're not gonna, Swoggle, you were hoodwinked. You were hornswoggled. But you know what? It's a Christmas show, and I guess when it's Christmas, you don't care about driving storylines ahead for anything, except the ones that don't matter. So there you go. That's how Hornswoggle joined DX. Ta-da! I don't think it's a bad episode. Little People's Court does have a lot of moments that were okay, that's kind of fun, silly stuff. And I think a lot of the matches we had on the show were actually pretty good. The 6-man was really solid. Cena versus Swagger was the best singles match on the card. I think it was an average show. It didn't at all remind you that the Royal Rumble's coming up.
You'd think that would come up somewhere on the radar. Nope, no real mention of that at all.
And as for Mr. Roboto, Johnny Damon, I make fun of his delivery and everything. He's still not the absolute worst guest host of all time. He had some energy, he was happy to be there, even if he was seriously intimidated by the crowd. I mean, he was in front of the wrong crowd for this as well, if we're being honest. Because if you're going to book a pro athlete anywhere, you got to do it like in the city where they play. I mean, Johnny Damon wasn't going to play for the Rays for another 2 seasons after this. And as far as where Mr. Damon sits on the rankings 6 months into the experiment, although a year in guest host Raw time, I'm going to put him number 22 so far in this ever-growing list, just underneath last episode's host, Dennis Miller. They were both pretty bad for different reasons. Johnny Damon was just a little more bad, in my opinion. But what did you think about Damon as the host, and how about this episode of Raw? What were your thoughts on Little People's Court, and especially Shawn Michaels' performance? I want to hear about it in the comment section below. Be sure to give the video a thumbs up if you like it, subscribe to Wrestling with Regret, and hit the bell icon for all the notifications. Next time on Guest Host Raw, the host is going to be recording artist and producer Timbaland. But until then, I'm Brian Zane, and I'll see you next time. Go for it!